Good afternoon. It is time for our fraction lesson here. And this week we've been working on trying to find equivalent fractions. So as you can see over here, I have 1/2 equals how many twelfths? Well, we have a grid paper here, and this is a 5 by 12 grid paper. So over here you can see it is 5 tall by 12 long. So what we want to do is we want to figure out, okay, if we have half, how many twelfths does that equal? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to split this in half right there. Now what I want to do is I want to try to split this grid paper into twelfths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12. So I have that split into twelfths right there, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to shade in 1/2. So I'm going to do this very quickly here just to show you that this is 1/2. Now, how many twelfths do I have shaded in there? Well, I'm going to go ahead and count, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 twelfths shaded in. So I know that 1/2 is equivalent to 6 twelfths. So that's by using a 5 by 12. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use a 2 by 3. And what we want to do is the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and break this apart. And over here I have a 4 by 6, and we want to break this up into 2/3. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to break this up just right there into 3 parts, and they are 3 equal parts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shade in 2/3. So we're going to go ahead and shade in 2/3. Okay. And you can do that right there like so. There we go. And I'm also going to show you here that we could do it like this. So there's that. And I'm going to show you the 2 different ways that the students might do this. So right here we have 2/3. I'm going to shade that in. And again, it's not nice and neat. I would want the students to shade it in neater than that, but just for the sake of time, we did it very quickly. So what I can do is how I can break this into 6ths. Well, I need to think here, and I need to think, well, what happens if I break the thirds into half? How many parts do I have? Well, I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many do I have shaded in? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. Another thing that I could do is I could break this down into 6 just like this, and I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many are shaded in? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a way that we can use this grid paper to help us find equivalent fractions. The last one that we're going to show you here is 6/8. Now with this, what we want to do is we want to split this in half. Just right like that. Okay. So I'm going to split that in half. And I know that I've made a 4th. So I know that I've made a 4th there. Now, what do I know about an 1/8? I know that an 1/8 is half of a 4th. So what I'm going to do is just start right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this right there in half. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and shade 6/8. So I'm going to go ahead. There's 2, there's 4, and there's 6. So right there I have 6/8 shaded in. But what I can do is I can look here and I can say, well, right here is 1/4 shaded in. Right here is 1/4 shaded in. And right here is 1/4 shaded in. If I add that up, I know that this equals 3/4. So I can do that right there. What else we've been doing is we've been cross multiplying. So let's say if we have 7/8 and 4/5. And what we want to do is we want to figure out, okay, which fraction is greater, which fraction is smaller. What we've been looking at is we've been looking at the numerator and saying, okay, I know that if I double that, that equals 14. That's greater than my denominator, so I know it's greater than half. The same thing here, if I double that, that's 8. That's greater than 5, so I know it's greater than half. So what I can do is I can cross multiply. I can go 7 times 5, which is 35, and then I can go 8 times 4, which is 32. And then what I go ahead and I multiply down here, that's 40, and this is 40. So if I look at this, I can go ahead and I can compare, and I can say, well, look at this fraction. I know that 7/8 is greater than 4/5. So there's one way that we're going to do it. We're going to look at percentages next week. Just very briefly, we're going to look at percentages, and we can compare that way as well. Have a great weekend, and hopefully you enjoyed this YouTube installment.